Hello people, this is Power here to review the Ultraman Trigger DX Black Sparklense Trigger Dark version. So this is yet another premium Bandai item that is obviously a repaint of the Guts Sparklense, and unlike the ancient Sparklense, I do really like the fact that this one mirrors the look of the original box, which I can't cut, or I can cut to, but I can't grab. As you can see from the corner there, as we got the Black Sparklense right there, we got Ignis, Trigger Dark, and there's the side with the Trigger Dark Hyperkey. And then on the side, we got two additional Kaiju keys, Ouroboros and Zyborg. And this is going to be the first as of I'm recording, but my revised reviews might come out. But this is the first of Bandai items to have the International Bandai Namco logo, just for the sake of, selling this through international places. I actually forgot to show the top again, just the title, the bottom, and then the back is the traditional premium Bandai-ness. And to explain as to why they had to specify this is the Trigger Dark version, I guess people would confuse this for the original Black Sparklense for some reason. I guess because it's not the Guts Sparklense. If it was called the Guts Sparklense Trigger Dark version, the name would make sense. But then I think, I don't know, I think they should have... We know this was originally made out of a Guts Sparklense, so I don't know what people would get confused about if this was just called the Black Sparklense. Like, people are not going to be like, wait, which one is from Tiga, The Final Odyssey, and which one's from Trigger? Like, no one's going to get confused. Alright, so here we have the contents out of the box. Obviously, we have the Black Sparklense Trigger Dark. We're just going to call it the Black Sparklense. How is anyone going to confuse this with the one from the Final Odyssey? I don't get it. This one's a gun. The other one is just a simple repaint of the original one. And plus, the original one didn't have these decals, so... Seriously, how is someone going to confuse this gun for the original Black Sparklense? And we got the three Hyper keys, the Trigger Dark Hyper key and the two Kaiju keys and such. So yeah, obviously because in the show Ignis just used scrapped parts of a Guts Sparklense to create this, I really like this color scheme overall. I really like the bronze black and like the translucent shade of pink. This is a really interesting shade, and this is a lot lighter compared to the original one. But as I said before, this one has these decals, which it's interesting for sure. It definitely does add more to it, but I would say that it wasn't really necessary. But we still have the Guts Select symbol right there because this was literally a Guts Sparklense. Eject button like so, trigger button. This is obviously where you insert the hyper keys yet again, and then transferring it from hypergun mode to Sparklense mode. I really like this. Again, I really like this color they went with for the core. It's really cool. I really like that they went with a different color scheme with these variants. Like, cause obviously Saki Rube Gyro you should see next month, because I can actually finally put that review out. Zet's in limbo, so you guys have not seen the Dark Zet Riser. So this is probably one of my favorites of the like dark counterparts of the original Changer and such. So again, here's the original Sparklense. And like, just, I guess this in black just makes it look a lot better. Even though, obviously, this color is supposed to be more standardized and such. They even changed the color of the core. Like, the fact they kept that as blue is really cool. But I just think the color choices on this one are a lot more appealing than this one. Like, obviously, again, this one they're trying to stick towards a neutral, like, color scheme that will fit with, like, Tiga and such. But this one, definitely, like, they actually did their own thing. This thing requires 2 AAA batteries yet again. And the on and off switch down here, like so. So, what color LED was that? Okay, you get a purple LED, and then obviously you only get the standardized blasting sound, which is a multi-shot. So pew 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 pew. And I really do like that it's a blue LED. The LEDs really look good in here. So opposed to this one, pew 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 pew. Yeah, so that one's blue there, and then this one's green. So that's really interesting. But I just like how this version just like... This one you can shoot like 5 shots in one press. I like it. And Sparklense mode. We get that, white LED, and then when we press this... That's technically the air sound, but it doesn't air out, technically. And just the feel of this one feels a lot better. But it might be just because this one's a lot more newer. But like, you can just tell this one has a lot more clickiness. And it actually feels solid. As opposed to the original one. Because this one you can do that, which is not good. I think I can do that with this one now. Yeah, but like you can just tell like this one's a lot more like solid than like this, which, you know, the looseness of this one really does hurt. Like, you know, just trying to like... I mean, like, yeah, the looseness does, I guess, is more accurate, but like, you know, sometimes having that tightness really helps and such. And obviously, this has the same pin system and such. So, if you, as you can see that moving back in. So yeah, that's basically what this thing does by itself. So here we are with the Trigger Dark Hyperkey. As you can see from here, it's, you know, the same base, but just in different plastic, as the base now is in this nice gun. This is gunmetal. A gunmetal gray. And I really like the translucent yellow that they have. And this one's actually a new mold because the front of it is actually cracked and such, which is really interesting because you can see the gut select symbol, but it's all cracked up and such. I really like it overall. I obviously haven't watched the show, but I don't think the key that Ignis steals was a cracked key. I'm pretty sure it was just a Kaiju key because for some reason he became Trigger Dark at the end of Reboot, like the end, and when Reboot left, because that's how he obtained the powers anyway. Here we have the 2 triggers, and as you can see, the numbering here is it might look like 10-U, but it's actually just supposed to be a mirroring of Trigger. So it's still U-1, but I feel like if they were going with the mirroring aspect, he should have been flipped. But anyways, the stained glass background's gray, but that doesn't mean anything. And then the back here, interestingly, this is already a spoiler, as you can see from here, and just me reading this off. This one is B001. So this is just the track for Trigger multi-type. Alright. So obviously we have our sounds. It's actually different. The second mode is, which is for transformation purposes, which again we only get the activation sound. Then we have our standard sound mode. I guess I'll say this is similarly formatted like the premium Z keys and such. I should probably have said that before. And then, obviously, as this follows with the Z sets, the fourth mode is phrase mode. I think there's about like 24 phrases. We will breeze through them. They're kind of in the same, they're kind of edited the same like the ancient Sparklense, but it's not as heavily filtered. Like, what was that? Like, that was such a weird cut. I don't know why they didn't clean that up, but it's not as bad as the Ultra Replica Orb Ring. I think that's him obtaining the powers, which is where I'm going to leave it off. Because then basically, I assume the last few phrases are his showdown with Hugh Drum. And the last phrase is the transformation, so I at least appreciate they did change all this stuff. Next up, we actually got something new for ourselves. Obviously, we got a standard Kaiju key. However, when we turn it around, we have a pull tab. And it's actually weighty, because now we finally have DX Kaiju keys. So this one is B031. Obviously, it's the exact same, it's just now it actually will make its own sounds. So this one's M08 Ouroboros, obviously from Rube fame. The first sound is for Ignis, but the second sound as the actual activation. And sound mode. These are basically just standard DX keys. There's like nothing premium to them. So we'll get the transformation and then like the attack sounds. So yeah, pretty standard. But I don't mind. So here we have Zyborg from Jeed, B032, M09. As you can tell, they both look blue, honestly, background-wise. Ouroboros' background, honestly, you can't even tell. It just looks like a shade of blue, but it is, spoilers, white. Zyborg is blue. So we still have the same activation sound. So let's use these hyperkeys within the Black Sparklense. Obviously, the transform to Trigger Dark, it's the same process as transforming to Trigger. Insert the hyperkey down below the handle. And the sound structure is the exact same as the original Gut Sparklense. So if we press it once, we will get a firing sound. And I'm pretty sure that's all. So obviously to transform, just simply open the gun open like so to reveal the lens. Obviously all the sounds are new, and just press the trigger to complete the transformation. And there we get the transformation of Trigger Dark, which is pretty interesting. It's not like, you know, Trigger's compositions. It's definitely, you know, something different, but I appreciate it. So I think key-wise, as a whole, Trigger Dark actually does have attack sounds. I think it's 10 attack sounds, or it's technically 5. 5 grunts, 5 attacks, and then the dissolving. I honestly don't know what the last sound is, but let's just breeze through them. That does get annoying. And I think that was it, because the last sound. I personally don't know what that's supposed to be. However, if you remember, with the Z Premium set, if you hold down the button, you get the BGM playing, to which that allows you to overlap or to play the sounds over the BGM. They carry that over with Trigger Dark. However, instead of BGM, it's the color timer. So you can have the color timer playing, but also be able to press the button at the same time. However, if you try to stop it, you can't. It just keeps going, which is honestly annoying because I don't want to keep, I want to shut it off. I don't want to be stuck with the color timer constantly going off and such. Anyways, in Sparklense mode, we'll actually show it in Ignis mode because obviously Ignis mode is simply the transformation with Ignis's phrases. So obviously we had Ignis's phrases, but we didn't get the, oh, like where's the Trigger Dark announcement? Well, that's because you have to press it yourself during the transformation now, which is pretty interesting, and does provide like the consumer the ability to play that sound whenever they want. I do appreciate it. So let's do that again and just show you how that works. So I can press it right away. And then let it play and then press it. Like it's really interesting that they incorporated that. At first I thought it was just really weird that they cut it out in this mode, but no, it's just because you have to press it. So keep that in mind. Actually, why did I close that up? Because we actually need to keep this open. Because obviously Ignis uses the Kaiju keys. I think he's technically the only one to use the Kaiju keys within here. Basically, the Kaiju keys within this Sparklense allows Ignis to utilize abilities off of that Kaiju. So, again, we simply activate it like so. We slot it in. So obviously it'll do its thing, and then just like Glitter Trigger Eternity, you want to hold down the button. I don't know what that attack is called specifically, but it allows, it's a Horror space attack, and then Zygote. Again, hold the button down. So speaking of those, obviously we can actually now correctly replicate this. So these sounds exactly carry over from the Guts Sparklense. Hold it down. I apologize for that, like, not timing well. So, obviously we're going into DX keys, so like, you might be wondering, like, what if we were to use Trigger multi-type within this toy? it's the exact same. So, nothing spectacular. We'll show it the other way around later. What else to use? Alright. Just to change things up, here we go with Z Original.
Ultraman Z Original.
Which I don't think I should have done, actually, because this one will not do anything. So we actually have Zet back into this thing now. But, like, obviously the light coordination is the exact same. What's then? Actually, we'll get to it later. Here is our last one we're going to use. Here's Reboot.
Ultraman Reboot. Galaxium.
How do you hold it like this? Or something like this. I also want to apologize that I said in the original review that they specifically composed that for Trigger. No. With the soundtrack of Ultra Galaxy Fight, that it's just that that's been there. That's been composed. It's just that I think Trigger made it more obvious. But yeah, that's so DX keys obviously are the same. Speaking of these, we'll just use these two. So obviously this is the blank key from the ancient Sparklense. That's all the same, but I don't mind it at all. And then using Trigger and Zero again, because this one's actually interesting. So yeah, Trigger Dark within the pre-programmed sounds has actually replaced all Trigger sounds, which is pretty cool. That they're still pretty faithful about that. And yet again, Zero's sound was altered, which is pretty neat. Obviously, unlike the ancient Sparklense, this does the same generic stuff. But yeah, like again, like just sucks that Japan only got the one key. But speaking of that, let's just jump into some Kaiju keys. So we might do the same selection again. We might cover some of the same ones again. I apologize, but here's Belial. So the Kaijus have a new standby. But they sadly have the same exact sound from the original Gut Sparklense, just with that deeper voice. And obviously, all of that is the same. Which is why I'm not bothering to do these two, because I really did wish these two had a specific mode for the dark or the black Sparklense, but they only have the one activation sound, which is kind of disappointing. Man, I did not mean to kick all of these. Oh, shoot. Where? Okay. We will use Evil Tiga because we don't have an Evil Trigger key. Then obviously we will show off a Z key. So we will use King Joe's Storage Custom. So we still have those Z riser sounds. And this shenanigans. I like it. But like, you know, the kaijus within this one are just the same old thing of the original one. Then we will use which data did we use for, because none of them worked, right? I don't remember which data we used it within the videos, because I actually will use data C again. Because I never used data C in this state. Dada. I don't know why Ultraman cannot release a soundtrack for a show anymore. That's honestly ridiculous. Obviously our victimite of Candy Toy 2, Chimera, because she still refuses to work in any of these. She's like, she definitely works a lot better in here. This is probably the best she works in. But obviously we're not going to show her. She's actually being cooperative now. Wow. Alright, Carmio. We'll do Kimur. Might as well show a kaiju in the Sparklense mode. And just show that you can't do any attacks. Because it's all the same. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, basically, obviously, if you want everything, watch the demo. That was torturous, but I mean, it's not as bad. let's just show off what the other keys do in the other devices. So obviously using Trigger Dark within here. Sorry, I always forget to change the modes. This thing obviously is not going to have fun reading this. I do think the color scheme is really interesting though. And the sound correlation is pretty neat. So obviously, like, interestingly, Trigger Dark's color coordination within the Black Sparklense is different. Obviously, to reflect on Trigger Dark. Obviously, all of this stuff is the exact same. I'm not gonna bother. We're gonna focus on the Kaiju keys. Whoops. I did not. I thought these would reset already. That's actually pretty interesting. That's not right. Oh, there. So yeah, this one's a white LED, and this one is kind of like a Kaiju. It basically is a Kaiju key with more sounds. So that'll be the standard only sound from a Kaiju key, but then you get like at least 4 more sounds. I think each of these have 5. Zygorg. I at least appreciate the consistency. The end part is definitely different though, which I do think is interesting. We're not going to do much. I'm basically just going to show that obviously you can hold the button down for all of these. And then for some reason, if you want to use Ignis mode with this, It does work. Wow, we're finally pulling out circle arms. Okay. So I don't think he ever used circle arms with Trigger Dark itself, but you know. Okay. I think this is dying. So that was weirdly delayed. So I state that I don't know if he ever used the sword mode for this one because he definitely did for these two. So yeah, he actually, I understand it's to promote the toy. He actually does use the Kaiju keys within Circle Arms, but as the multi-sword. So obviously you just activate that again. I did not want this to happen. Okay, you know what? Yeah, just. Alright. I'll definitely replace the batteries temporarily for the next review. I'm actually not going to keep the tab out because it might try to say its own name constantly, and that'll be annoying. Alright, so that should be the basics of the Dark Sparklense. It's just the Gut Sparklense with more. Like obviously the Dark Sparklense itself is the exact same. It's just a different body and a different, like, I mean, it's not a different sound set. It's the exact same sound set, just altered. Obviously the highlight here are the keys, just because the keys obviously do more unique things. Honestly, yeah, you're getting this for Trigger Dark himself in Ignis. But honestly, the highlight of the set are the two DX Kaiju keys, just because that's a first. Like, I'm genuinely surprised that they actually finally did do them. I understand why they didn't do them a lot, but it's cool that they did do them. I think the choices they decide to do, or the two that they decide to make DX, are weird because Ouroboros and Zygourg are just two average kaijus. If they did a DX one of, like, you know, Nursese, for example, that would have made sense, but we just have two new gen kaijus. I mean, at least he used them in the show, but like I said, that's because they have to advertise this product. And it's also just really cool to finally see how the sound structure would be if these kaiju keys would have actually worked within circle arms, which makes sense. It's the name of the kaiju and then their ability, which again, you can do that through sound editing and such, which I don't. Yeah, there are sound rips for the Gut Sparklense, so yeah, I could like sit down and like do all that, but But overall, I do think this is a pretty nice set. I definitely think this is a lot more worth to get than the Ancient Sparklense for most people, just because, it's just the same thing like the Gut Sparklense. But I think the thing that the Ancient Sparklense definitely has over this one is the variety, or the actual changes in sounds. This one again is just the same sound structure, but in a different tone of voice. And the thing is that obviously, as you heard with the majority of the pre-existing keys that we have, they're not even like in the same. They're not. Those are not even re-recorded. They're just filtered, which kind of sucks. I don't know an Ultraman toy that actually went through the effort of re-recording the sounds for the dark equivalents. I think that only the Dark Spark did it because of the fact that was a different voice actor. But the Dark Ring, the Saki Rib Gyro was just basically the Kaiju, the voice actor they got for the Kaiju side of things, doing everything. So I guess that counts. Uh, then Dark Zet Riser and this one are just same voice, heavily filter it. And what was the Terra Phaser one? Or the one in Decker. That one actually looks cool. But that one obviously is different too. But yeah, I would recommend picking this one over. Like, if you had a choice between getting this one and the Ancient Spark ones, definitely go for this one. I think this one's more valuable because, again, you get 3 DX keys, and you get a pretty cool looking redeco of the Gut Spark ones. Obviously, nothing against like the blank key or the Ancient Spark lens. It's just that one you really need the Kaiju keys to have fun with that one. This one, if you have DX keys, they do work for the most part, because I literally forgot to show this. This is why I said Z Original was not gonna cut it. But so, like I said, Z is in this toy, but if you were to use the transformation mode,
Alpha.
it sadly doesn't really line up anymore. I really wish they took that into consideration, but it sucks they didn't. So that's kind of the disappointing thing. So just don't play with these in that voice mode, because then you're gonna have awkward pauses or silent. Gosh darn it. So I was talking about just don't play with the Z keys with Hyperkey's phrases. Gosh. But yeah, I don't know how much this goes for. I want to say about $70 in the aftermarket. But I do think, did I get the Spark lens for 40? Because I mean, you are getting like a good value out of this, because you literally get 3 DX keys. And these two, it's also really nice to have 2 more keys that actually do finishers. And obviously, if you have Glitter Eternity, then that absolutely, you basically have his entire lineup of keys and such. So, oh yeah, this is the last thing I want to say. Obviously, because we covered the majority of the Kaiju keys, and now we're just gonna mostly focus on DX premium sets. No, we will not use we will not use this or the ancient Sparklense because there's no point. It's only light coordinations. However, I still have to do it for the demos. So I don't like filming the demos for these because it's just a lot of blank. It's just a lot of me sitting there waiting for the light to go out. And I know it's like, PowerRider, you don't have to show the light fully and then wait for it to go out. But it's like, I have to because some people are curious. Some people will generally be curious about like, oh, how long does that LED go for? I don't know. Oh, 30 seconds? 30 seconds too long.